like, dude, yes, finally, finally something bad happened. You're like, I hate this guy. And now you're telling your friends, you're like, dude, did you see what happened to him? Pretty funny, right?
I
And
hate
then
this.
you hear someone who's like a friend of the jock being like, dude, what's your deal? This time, audio on, ears on. What do we got going on today? Innovate, let me know.
Hypey did not record for 10 minutes of our time, but we're here. We're having a good time. Yo, what episode are we? 21. Chat. Thank you for being here. We're here to talk about parasocial relationships and you creating one with us because we're going to tell you that we love you and we adore you. Right,
You,
Hypey?
you're that's him. That's not me, respectfully. I don't know who you are. Don't talk to me that way.
Is it weird when a content creator says, "Hey, I love you. Make sure to like, subscribe." Is it weird when someone says that?
There's like this interesting take that I've always remembered about when it comes to that. I believe it was Bo Burnham in a special. He was saying like, "Oh, I love all my fans. Like they stick with me through thick and thin." And he responds with, "Do not stick with me through thin. Like if I'm doing a bad job, don't stay with me, right?" And I've always seen that connection as a like yeah, you can enjoy the aspect of like, people supporting you, people wanting to hear from you. But if the person you're supporting isn't like really delivering, then
Yeah,
it's okay to start being like judgmental or like, criticism, right? I guess. Um,
yeah.
so I guess that's why that is kind of tough for me because if I'm a comedian and I'm not making people laugh, I'm doing something wrong. And for you to be like, well, he's funny other
Wait,
times,
okay, okay. I understand where you're going with, but I guess my question is more revolved around: is it okay or should content creators say feel comfortable saying "I love you" to their audiences?
I'm gonna say no.
You don't
Just
think they should?
I'm gonna say no, but maybe because of what it means to me. Personally, for me, if I said a statement like that, it's because I meant it, right? I think very highly of the person.
You're at a concert. No, different situation. You're at a
Okay.
concert and then they're saying "I love you" because they're there in that moment. What about that? Would you say "I love you"? Is that
I
in
wouldn't
person,
I
right?
wouldn't say it. I would say
You
thank
still
you,
feel like
random
it's weird.
citizen.
Thank you, random citizen. Thank you.
Like, you know what? I'm happy that I can make you express that emotion, but it has to go both ways,
Do you
respectfully.
think does it cause a negative situation when content creators say "I love you"?
I could see how people will say that. Um,
We don't agree with that.
I don't think so. I don't think I agree with it. Which is, but it's fair. I understand the point from the other side where,
Yeah.
you hear these stories where it's like, I thought we were in a relationship and this and that. Meanwhile, like, they have never interacted with them. Whether it be them going like just really crazy and they're creating their own kind of story in their heads, or because of a small interaction where it's like, oh, I love you guys, this and that. And the creator was like, oh, they're talking about me. I mean, the viewer, right?
Is there anyone that you've ever had a parasocial relationship with?
See, if you ask
4.
me,
I guess it would be 4. My bad. 4.
if you asked me a week ago, I'd probably tell you no. But after recent events, I feel like I've more noticed it maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
more actively like listening to yourself.
yeah, because I guess when you put more attention to it, you kind of start seeing it. I don't think I've ever been in a space with the creator where I think, oh, we're good friends, or oh, I know this person. Like if I saw them in real life, I wouldn't
Gotcha.
think too much
Gotcha,
about it,
gotcha.
right? Like
So
obviously in my head, like with competitive players, right? I've seen them in
mhm.
streams, I've seen them in competitions. I would be quick to be like, dude, oh my gosh, it's that player, right?
Yeah, 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 I feel you.
And but I'm not walking up to them because I don't know them and they don't know me. I could go up to them and say, hey, I'm a big fan of this and that. For example, I went to Supernova, a Smash tournament. I
Okay.
ran into the Twitch streamer Coney, one of my favorite creators.
Okay.
Love watching his streams. I think he's hilarious. I've been in so many close proximity situations with the guy, but I've never been in the oh that's my friend. Like oh he's real
Yeah.
cool. But when I met him and I talked to him, I was just like, dude, I'm such a big fan. I feel like I've gone through your branch and I feel like myself in similar shoes that you have gone through, but keep up the good work kind of vibe, right? But that was
Yeah,
basically to the extent of it. And it was just nice meeting the person because in my eyes, like this is someone I've obviously seen in the past, while to him, it's just a random viewer count on his stream or YouTube video, right?
yeah. And that's something that I think a lot of people, when they post content, they don't acknowledge that every single view is a person. It is
Mm,
a genuine person. So the idea of having 100 people who watched us, thank you so much for watching us. So the idea of having 100 people in a room is insane. It's a lot of people. Because if you've ever been in a claustrophobic room of 30 people with 30 people, it is a lot of people. So imagine each and every single one of them clicking on your video, and whether it be watching 10 seconds, whether it be watching 10 minutes, 30 minutes, you know, they have they're seeing you, right? So
right.
even though these large content creators might have like a million subs or 100,000 subs, when they themselves go watch a video, they are simply one view either way. Did you ever think about it like
Not until recently. It wasn't until we
that?
had that short with that had like 25K views
Yeah,
where I started picturing it like even those people
25,000
who
people in a room. Yeah,
yeah, even those people who like heard it for a couple of seconds,
yeah.
they unfortunately had the presence of my voice in their life,
Mhm.
and they had to hear the take, right? They hear this
Yeah.
random story, but whether it be positive, negative, the fact that someone was observing to that conversation is it's interesting, right?
Mhm.
Because never think about it this way: a lot of people have issues reading in a classroom, right?
Okay.
If you are
Publicly,
chosen,
right?
yeah, yeah, like if you're chosen in a room, there's 30 people in the room. Hey, IP, can you read the next passage for us? Most people will refuse
Right.
because they can't even believe the circumstances that they're in, right?
Yeah.
So now erase that and picture like 100 people, right? That's usually how it goes for theater. Hey, you're going to perform, you're going to
Yeah.
do this for a bigger crowd. The higher the number that goes, the more ridiculous it kind of gets in your mind where you're just like, that's an insane amount of people.
Yeah. And yeah, picturing 25,000 people that watched one short is a whole stadium. That's crazy to think about. Each and every person in the stadium on their phone watching you for those quick 10 seconds is insane to think about. And the crazy
Right.
part is that most of them won't remember us. And that's crazy, fun, it's whatever. But to me, it's insane that I think when you show someone your channel and it doesn't have more than 10,000 subscribers, it's downplayed on. But the idea of having 1,000 people say, "Hey, that's cool. I'm down to follow. I'm down to subscribe to this story." That's a lot of people. That's 1,000 people,
Right,
real
because
individuals.
in a similar scenario where I was mentioning with like the classroom or doing like a theater show,
Yeah,
it in the same aspect, it's very common that people will leave that and be like, "Wow, that person exists." You don't remember them, maybe you don't even see from them again, right?
yeah,
But 1,000 people, that's different from like a group of friends being like, "I enjoy your presence, you're fun to be around. Let's keep this going." They're
yeah,
following you in a way, right?
yeah.
Picture
They're
that times
becoming
a
your
thousand.
friends.
Yeah.
Going back to the parasocial idea, right? When you
Okay.
subscribe, they're your friends. What? Hey, make sure to like, subscribe. Guys, we really appreciate it.
You're not my friend unless you sub. There, I said it. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But it's
So,
interesting because that is how the connection is made, right?
yeah,
With friends, it's like they quote unquote followed you
yeah,
and
basically.
they want to see your story. Same thing with subscribers. Once they follow your story, is
Yeah.
it safe to say that you consider them like as a friend of yours?
No.
Yeah.
They subscribe to the story, I guess, not your friendship,
Yeah.
which is different, right? Okay. So, on the parasocial topic, oh, it's tricky. But I'll explain my example. I think I've had a parasocial relationship with someone, but not necessarily in the sense of me viewing them as friends, but it's one of those things where you envision yourself wanting to hang out with them routinely. I think I would say. It's not any famous creator or something. It's someone that I think has like 10,000 subs kind of thing. But I
Mhm.
think it's one of those things where when you engage in so much or consume so many hours of watching someone stream or Twitch, you really do develop these situations where you want to be their friends. You want
Mm.
to participate in their lives, or you sometimes even see yourself. And I say that because sometimes I literally had a dream literally 2 days ago where I dreamed that XQC was just hanging out with me, and it's one of those things that I don't even watch XQC. He's not even in like in my life in any sort of way. I think it's because I saw a clip of him and right before I fell asleep, and then now he just ended up in my dream. But it's really funny that a lot of things or a lot of these creators that will never know we exist, ever know we exist, can just pop into your brain and just exist in your brain as a potential friend. And I think that's really what I mean when I say parasocial relationship, because sometimes you'll go to these conventions and stuff like that, and people want to take these photos. And I've to also mention, I don't I don't care. Like I'm never gonna pay for a signature. I'm never gonna pay for a photo because I just don't care. Like I'm the type of person that from like 40, 50 feet away, I take a photo. I'm like, hey, look, I saw them. That's cool. Like, that's it. But for me, but I think it's not necessarily parasocial, but it's fanaticism. Maybe that's what it is. When people go to these conventions and then they want to take a photo with their actor, they want to get a signature with their actor. And I think it's funny because I at one point wanted to run large conventions and people kept telling me, "Yeah, you should do this, you should do this." But it's really funny and weird for my brain because I don't even care. Like it's not even at the top of mind. It's not even something that I care about. But then when I go to these large events, these conventions, and I see the lines for these actors or actresses, these voice actors for these events, it is long, dude. It's crazy. 50 people are queued up waiting to take a photo, waiting to get a signature, and that to me is insane.
Right. And just to brush up on that, I will say personally, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I'm like, I will pay for your signature kind of deal.
$50.
Right? I have friends who
Uh-huh.
have, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I think there's only one person that came to mind when I was thinking of that. Like, who would I possibly want a signature? It's Otto. It'll make sense, right? But the thing is, like, I guess I have that one person, so that I have my own limit, right? What I wanted to mention was it's insane because maybe it's because I don't get it, right? I haven't been in a situation where I feel that maybe I don't have the connection with those people because I feel like I have my own friends kind of regard.
Yeah.
I've just never been in a stuff where I think of that person too much. I was laughing earlier because when you made the comment about XUC in your dream, I had a dream once ever probably where that's it, right? Only one dream. No, but I had a dream where Otto was in there and she was just hanging out with her friends. But it's really funny because the whole thing was she spoke in Japanese and I had to tell my friend, I'm like, she doesn't know English. Like you're gonna have to but then like the way my dreams work is that we were already on to the next thing, right?
Yeah.
And so but I laughed at that because I don't know if you've ever heard of how telephones never show up in our dreams. Like your cell phone will never show up in your dream.
Never thought about it. Now I feel like it's a challenge.
Right? And so once I got notified of that, I started thinking about I dreamt about this, but I can't even dream about my cell phone. When you kind of when you what I mean is when
Yeah.
you kind of think about it, like it's just an interesting concept that you're not thinking about that, but your brain tells you like, hey, remember your good friend Otto? And I wake up and I'm like, well, that's just not
Yeah.
true. She's just a singer.
Or faces where you don't even know who they are, and then they just end up becoming your significant other who you had children with, and then you got, and then you died with, and then it's crazy because you're just thinking, Yo, who was that? Like, I don't even know who that was. Like, their face is a complete either blur or it was someone that you saw across walking down the street kind of thing. And then that's the person that your brain just said, yeah, that's like who I'm gonna torture you with, and you were just thinking, they're thinking, what the hell? And
You
it's
wake
really, really crazy.
you wake up and you're like, spoilers? Crazy.
Oh no, shit.
And- it's
You can
just
never avoid these spoilers, bro.
yeah. Dude, no matter what the situation in, you're gonna
That's
get
funny,
spoiled.
man.
That's unfortunate. I will say, when it comes to parasocial relationships, I feel like it's tricky because for the most part, you'll see a lot of times where it feels kind of harmless,
Yeah.
where someone's like really close to someone and it's fine, right? They're just like, oh, I love listening to this. Maybe I listen to them all day. They're like a good person and this and that. They'll tell you their whole life story. However, there's always the bad case of the most dangerous parasocial relationships where, like, you know, a murderous act happens, for example. And the fact that it only takes one is what's kind of terrifying for me personally.
Yeah. If you have 100,000 fans and one fan is crazy enough to have these evil thoughts against you, right?
Right.
Which leads me to our final topic because I wanted to make this one short. I'm sorry, chat. Um, the negative situations or the negative effects of people having such strong parasocial relationships. And I kind of want to point out that I've been scrolling through LSF, which is live stream fails on Reddit. This subreddit is mostly focused on basically clips and the social situations that are happening on Twitch, Kick, anything that's on live stream, right?
Hmm.
And what's interesting is that I watch Ludwig, not like, well, I would say if the video pops up, I'll click on it. But on his main channel, I generally don't enjoy his videos there. I don't know why. It's a preference.
You hate him.
Anyways, I'm a hater. And it's really interesting because I feel that recently Ludwig made a comment mentioning how a lot of things, I don't even know where to start. He just said that a lot of the creators that he works with right now, he just wouldn't give a shit to, have them in his life after he stops streaming because a large part of his goal in life is that he eventually doesn't stream and that he just has a business that he can just run. And I thought that was really interesting and I thought it was okay and I viewed it as a positive. But it was really interesting to find out that a lot of people viewed Ludwig's remark or statements as very sociopathic and a
Mm,
lot of his comments is sociopathic. And it was really funny because he said something that I agreed with, but then he finished his statement by saying, "Oh, this person's like evil." And it's funny because I think that's how we talk when we're talking to our friends and stuff like that.
all right.
Like our friends, right, are just really gonna remember the base, the whole meat, right? They're not gonna remember the small snippet that you said at the end. They're gonna remember the meat of the topic that you were trying to state. Hey, this is the whole point. This is the point that I'm trying to make, right?
Yeah.
And his point right now, literally in the last 3 hours, he mentioned how XQC doesn't give a shit about Hassan, the dog collar thing. Like he literally doesn't care that he's only doing it because he's just farming it, right? He
Right.
really doesn't care if the dog was abused or not, right? And but at the end of it, Ludwig says he's a little evil guy, something of the sort, right? This evil dude. But it's really interesting because I think a lot of people ended up just taking it as that. And then it was interesting as well that XQC then had to defend himself on Twitter from saying, "Yeah, I do care about the dog." And it's really interesting to me as a whole because I'm kind of just don't really, I personally don't give a shit, right?
Right.
But I think it's one of those things that if you're so doubled down on live stream fails, this is like your whole drama. And
Mm,
I hate myself that I've been scrolling through LSF more recently. And I hate that. I hate that I know all of this. I hate that I follow this drama right now. But honestly, none of it sounded out of place. But it's really interesting reading comments and then people saying, Ludwig's a piece of shit. Why would he say that? Why is he throwing shade at XQC? But it's really interesting because to me, it's not shade. It's more of just the understanding that content creators clip farm. Content creators state things that will get them views, get them reactions. And that is not weird. That is not rare. That is not uncommon. That is normal.
Yeah.
But I think reading the comments made me realize, yo, why does people are actually just calling Ludwig a piece of shit? And I thought it was weird. I don't know why, because and I got like, you know, like this isn't a weird statement, but also thought it was interesting that XQC now had to defend himself because he said, yeah, like I do care about like the dog and stuff like that. It's just like it
It's
doesn't matter, bro.
it's so crazy because LSF feels like it's just two people having a conversation. However, you wait a day to hear what the other person says because of the conversations that show up on the threads, right?
Yeah.
And for
Like
example, I
Capcom, right?
yeah, and I read the one he's talking about with Ludwig talking about how when he finishes streaming, when he gets out of this, he probably won't talk to most content creators that he worked with.
Yeah.
People compared it to when you work a job and you have
Yeah.
coworkers. When you leave the job, you still talk to your coworkers, or like something happens, you made connections with
Yeah.
one, you still talk to them. However, I thought it was strange because in my experience, my coworkers were cool. I've never seen them again, right? I've never heard from them
Yeah,
again.
I don't really interact with my old coworkers.
Don't get me wrong, I've met a lot of amazing people in my
Yeah.
jobs, right? There's some good ones. And I even have some that I do still talk to, but it's so few. It's so few. I think I could put them in my hand. It's probably three people. And the reason I bring it up is because Ludwig, in the similar sense, said that. I think, like, where he was like, I probably won't talk too much except for like
I
three people.
yeah, I think he's basically miswording himself over and over, and then he has to come back and say, "This is what I meant," which
Yeah.
was very obvious. But I'm gonna reiterate, or I'm gonna reword myself in a way for you guys to stop clip farming the comment or the moment, right? And he's gonna have to do this again for the XQC thing because he's gonna come back and say, "Yeah, I worded myself poorly," and it's really interesting that I don't know. It's one of those things. He could be clip farming. Like it's not hard. You say something, and then you start drama with someone else, and then all of a sudden, both of you get benefit out of it, even if it is a negative experience. If it is not, you know, world-ending kind of thing, or a truly an accusation that would cause jail time, it, it's just engagement, brother.
Like, to be fair, look at it in this perspective. If someone says Ludwig says water is wet take, everyone's gonna be like, sure. Now, if Ludwig says water is actually on fire, a lot of people are going to be quick to jump on this thread and be like, this guy's insane. What is he talking about? But it gains more interaction. There's this quote I heard a long time ago where it says, if you're ever looking for the right answer, say the wrong answer. No one is going to answer your question because they don't want to,
Oh, I
but
know.
but
Yeah,
if you say the wrong answer, they're not going to let that slide. Someone's going to come in
yeah,
through the door, burst down like the Kool-Aid man, and say, actually, this is the right thing.
yeah.
And you're like, in your head,
Yeah, because there's no doubt about it. He's miswording himself, and it's one of those things where he acknowledges it, and it's really interesting because when you're thinking about it in scope, his lack of proper wording, because even if he tries to be properly worded, the fact that he's not wording himself correctly is giving him engagement. If he said basic shit, water is wet, no one gives a shit, right?
yeah,
Yeah, this is what happens, and stuff like that. No one gives a shit. But I think, as I'm thinking about it, I think a lot of content creators' growth comes from them slightly saying something slightly wrong. Even if it
yeah.
is mostly right, you could have a 95% proper statement and then you have a 5% wrong, and then everything is just stupid. Why'd you say that? You're trolling. But it's really interesting to think about just how you're saying it's creating engagement. And even if it is natural, because I feel like it was natural for him to misspeak right? I don't think he's doing it intentionally to bait engagement.
Yeah.
He's just getting clipped. And, you know, and there was a lot of clips that I saw that were easily out of context. Sounds so bad. But that's it. That's where we're at right now. And he even was mentioning, yeah, like I'm getting clip farmed and it sucks, but that's the era that we're in. And I'm just like, you're right. I mean,
It's
100 million people watched it and now they all think you're a piece of shit. So you just get
it's
clipped, dude.
it's like our podcast. It's very easy for you to clip like a small segment of one of our videos, and there's this one that I mentioned where it was the Xbox one.
Yeah.
Innovate was pretending to be the company in this impersonation
Oh, I
segment,
remember. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
the comments were so like aggressive towards Innovate, saying like that's a dumb take. However, Innovate and I agreed in the episode. The whole time we agreed, and even at the beginning we said this is how companies are.
This is what
But
companies are thinking. Yeah.
even though we agreed and we're on the same page, we were still getting told that the other take was wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Which for me, I thought that's really funny because I understand clip farming, right?
Yeah.
Not that we did it on purpose. And sometimes these creators, I don't think they do it intentionally. I think sometimes it is just a slip of the tongue. I'm not going to give 100% benefit to creators because at times, maybe you said something wrong and you're like, well, I didn't mean it like that, right? And
When you're live 3 hours a day, I mean, there's no doubt you're gonna say something wrong.
think about how many times you're with your friends or you're talking to someone, you accidentally blurt something wrong, right? Maybe you
Oh, I didn't
jumbled
even
the
look.
words a little bit
Yeah.
weird, or maybe you said the wrong name while you're calling a friend. You didn't mean it, but it's not like if someone clips the part where it's like Hype calls Innovate a different name. What did that mean? And it was just,
Whoa, hypey! What the hell, man?
and
Why would you do that?
in my head, I was just thinking about the person we were going to talk about. And I was just like, oh, like I'm thinking about Ludwig. Let me tell Innovate about Ludwig. And I'm like, Ludwig, so I mean, sorry, Innovate, this and that. But like people will clip it to where it's just the part of me saying Ludwig and like drama
That's the clip.
ensues.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
clip.
Yeah.
So,
So,
I mean, there's no doubt, right? We call, as he likes to say, call a spade a spade. He screwed over Miskiff. There's no denying it. And when he was being a drama frog, and you know, a lot of things you just live life with regret, and that's okay. It's really interesting because as he was talking about his Mogumel, for anyone that doesn't know, Mogumel was basically a drama channel. It was really interesting because I don't like drama, but I think I would watch his because I felt like it was a very unbiased reporting, and I think I missed that. Just like in videos, I have found more and more creators that are when they explain something, they try to be as unbiased as possible because that's what I want to watch. I don't want to watch you tell me what to think. I want you to show me the facts, and then that's it. That's the information. That is what it could and maybe give some possible reasonings for both sides.
right.
And that's it. That's all I want. And it was really interesting because I was watching a someone that used to be a reporter. He's a big YouTuber now. But that was great that I was watching that earlier where he literally says, by the way, this is a thing. I'm just gonna let you know. I'm not gonna make a decision for you if you think that's the political. He even mentions it in the video.
Right.
I'm not gonna make a choice for you. I'm even gonna tell you guys I haven't even made a choice. Just a heads up.
Yeah. Like, here's what we know kind of.
Yeah, here's what we know. And yeah, he's right. He's right though to say that some videos on Mogumel were super degenerate in the way that they were the types of dramas kind of thing. I watched a lot of it, man. But I think it's funny that I would watch more Mogumel than I would watch Ludwig's main channel at one point actually.
It I think with YouTubers, right, making more channels and such, I think it's kind of cool that you see people support more of one other content than the other.
Yeah.
It kind of shows that like besides your persona, I really like what kind of content you do here. For example, like our own channels, I stream more like platforming video games, right? Innovate gives his takes on like
Video game
situations,
businesses.
yeah, like animes and whatnot.
Video
But
game
when you come to the
businesses.
podcast, you will hear us start talking about like parasocial relationships, for example. Which is something that we probably wouldn't do in our own channel, right? Depending on
Yeah,
what we're
it's
looking
just
forward
not a
to.
conversation you can have with yourself kind of thing, right? It's a
Yeah,
conversation. And as I'm saying it right now, basically I gave an example of how my brain has a parasocial relationship with Ludwig as an example, right? Where you know, my brain would want to assume that like, oh, like he can be my friend and stuff like that. So that's like
right,
an example of how a parasocial relationship can creep into your brain. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't have parasocial relationships. But I'm like, well, it's a lot. People don't acknowledge that it's just based on the time of consumption that you've had with a content creator. If you
right.
watch a content creator for 100 hours, if you watch this podcast for 100 hours, your brain will naturally sometimes include us into parts of your life. And it's just the truth. Like if you're doing something while you're watching the podcast, you can your brain might even say, "Yeah, I was hanging out with them while I was cooking. Yeah, I was hanging out with them while I was cleaning," kind of thing. So that's what I mean. That it's a lot of people want to feel that it's impossible as well for them to create parasocial relationships, but I feel as though it's not as hard as people think.
Is it like when someone's schedule is so tied up to it? For example, I'll ask a friend like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, just watching Moon." Like Moon Moon, and
Oh,
the way they bring it up to me just sounds like, oh, I should know they're hanging
friend.
out like in
Yeah.
Moon Moon's channel. Like,
Yeah, like I'm hanging out with my friend kind of thing. It would be the wording is similar,
yeah,
right? Of spending
yeah,
time. Yeah. So it just depends on the amount of time that you spend consuming a content creator. And this is not to me to say, guys, Ludwig is not my friend. He will never be my friend. He will never know I exist, kind of thing. And that's okay. But I think a lot of people get so invested in this drama. I'm gonna be honest with you. It doesn't matter if Hassan mistreated the dog. I don't give a shit at this point. Shot collars are used for training. Should they use it as aggressively? Dependent on the person, bro.
guys, he's trying to clip farm so bad. I'm gonna be Ludwig. We're gonna be good friends. I care about Hassan getting shocked, shocking his dog. He has it in
How
the corner for a
dare he?
reason.
Well, there. Okay, I will say he should not be shocking the dog. When the dog is not misbehaving, or attacking anyone, there's no reason to shock the dog. The dog is not trying to run away from the house, so there's no reason to shock the dog. That's my opinion. Forcing an animal to live in like those two corners is like so weird to me.
Yeah,
Hey, you're in the corner of the room. Don't you dare move. It's just like, dude, chill the hell out, dude. He likes controlling things. It's just the reality of it. But I mean, dude, it doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't matter. And I guess I say that in the sense of w- should he go, think about it like this. Should he go to prison for the way he's treating his dog?
I don't think so.
Does it affect you that he is a bad dog owner?
Yeah,
It does affect you.
because anytime I see a clip with a dog, I'm gonna get sad about it. Like
True.
that, like, I, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm not gonna get into it. To each their own, right? But that is how I'm gonna view the situation. I do agree, though.
He's a bad dog owner. That's it. That's like the whole dilemma, right? Is he a bad dog owner? Yeah, like he pulled the dog's tail, bro. You don't do that. Like
I
that's just bad
I've unfortunately been
dog
in
owning.
the part of media where I'm seeing that no matter how bad a person is, or no matter how good someone is, they're gonna have followers. They're just gonna have people who are okay with
Yeah.
it, right? Like if he shocked his dog, it's like, yeah, he shocks his dog, but people do that all the time compared to other people who are going to be like, how could you even hurt an animal that way? There's other ways to do this, right? You're always going to have people on
Yeah.
the opposite side of the spectrums, which is why it's like it's tricky. And when it comes,
I'm not a perfect pet owner either, and my ex even made me realize that I wasn't a perfect pet owner. So it's not to say everybody is white knighting for the dog. I can guarantee you, everybody that is white knighting is probably has their freaking dog sitting next to them, asking for food while they're vigorously typing how the dog should not be mistreated, bro. And the dog's just like, You haven't taken me to a walk for 2 years. Can we go to a walk?
I think I th-
Like, bro, I know that that's the case, dude.
I think it does bleed into parasocial relationships as well with this scenario, because whether he did or didn't, you have a lot of people who are like, great, now I can talk smack about Hassan, or now I could talk good about Hassan.
No.
You know what I mean? The parasocial
Parasocial in
relationships,
the negative way. Like he's like they envision him. Think about like in a high school setting, right? They envision him as basically that uh I don't know what's the right word. It's not not a tomboy, right? Because that's a girl. That's he's a jock. Oh, he has like a jock vibe to him, right? So he's basically the jock at school, and you always hated him, and now you have a reason to hate him, kind of thing,
yeah,
maybe.
like the jock tripped on his way to the cafeteria line, and now you're like, dude, yes, finally something bad happened. You're like, I hate this guy. And now you're telling your friends, you're like, dude, did you see what happened to him? Pretty funny, right?
I
And
hate
then
this.
you hear someone who's like a friend of the jock being like, dude, what's your deal? He didn't even trip. If you were there and I was there, he didn't even trip, okay? He was tying his shoes. You know what I
And
mean?
then you
Like
go to all this dude's friends and tell him, why are you friends with him? Bro, this is so this any drama on live stream fails feels like high school drama.
yeah.
Admittedly, I really should stop reading the comments because it is so bad for my mental to even give a shit. I'm gonna be completely honest. Reading the comments is super brain rotting right now. I really should get off of that subreddit because it is brain rotting as hell. Past
I
that, that's it. Chat for me. I'm done. That's it.
like
That's my final comment.
my final thoughts on that regard is just, if people are into that kind of stuff, they into drama, right? They'll love, for example,
Yeah.
like when it comes with singers, right? You see a lot of this drama with like Taylor Swift fans, and what's the other artist? Is it Charlie XCX?
I don't know,
Like
bro.
there is like
I have
drama
no
going
idea.
between them, and you have these people on Twitter, you have these people on Instagram, all these socials where they're saying like, oh, you're crazy if you think this and that is happening. And to each their own, because I can see how some people prefer like just staying in that circle and being like, oh my god, did you hear the news and this and that. Same thing with LSF. It's just not for
Yeah.
me. I'll read some of the opinions there just to see what's going on, because I don't follow the streams too often. If I see a thread that's popping off on social media and it's saying like, Ludwig does this or Hassan does this, I'm gonna read into it just because I'm curious. But I'm gonna be honest. I'll give it a day max. Maybe I'll see the threads here and there.
Yeah, dude, it's just
I'm
not
okay.
worth
I'm
reading.
okay.
I'm gonna be honest. Most of it doesn't matter. The only real interactions that matter are the content creators like statement, and then that's it. I'm
Right.
gonna be honest. Everybody likes to give their opinion, but they're not in the space, or they're not in that situation, right? But
Yeah.
everybody likes giving their opinion, and even if your opinion is super rude or super ridiculous, right? You get to type it, and I hate that. So I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I need to get out of it. Out of LSF by the next episode. I swear.
Just so you guys know how much he's not out of it, the topic was parasocial relationships.
I actually thought it was a great topic because I've been going through LSF a lot, and I think you actually fall into it further
Yeah,
if you're reading LSF comments.
right. Which makes sense.
And it doesn't matter. I'm gonna keep. I and my brain even tells me this literally gives you no benefit in life.
Yeah.
Um, it's worse than playing video games. Let's say that.
It's worse than playing video games?
Yeah,
Oh no,
in the
wait,
sense of time
actually,
consumption
no, I kind of agree. I will say in terms of time consumption,
and benefits, right? Like
it
time consumption and benefits.
it has to be, the only thing that's lower is probably doom scrolling.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
right? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, to each their
Is that
own.
it?
If you love doom scrolling, if you love going to drama, uh,
Subscribe. Press the like button. Thank you for watching or listening if you're on Spotify.
that's it from us for us today. Let us know what you think. Comment on what you want to hear. You know the vibes. Do it now. All right, guys. Until next time. Goodbye.
Bye.